Hello, dear learners, and I welcome you and all the educators around watching this channel to Binpipe School. And I am Bijayalakshmi, and I am here to discuss about the new circular which has been launched by Cbse on special assessment scheme for the board examinations of class 10 and 12 for the session 2021 and 22. Now, keeping the pandemic situation on mind, the closed schools everywhere, and with the students learning online, and some of the parts where the students are inaccessible to the devices, and at the same time where the socio-economic background of some of the students are not good enough to get support and get accessible to the system of education that they are been doing from the last year. And keeping all this in mind, Cbse has come into conclusion about bifurcating the session and dividing it with into two terms, that is term 1 and term 2, and will be conducting examinations accordingly. Now let's come deeper and see what is the circular states, and let's come to know how the students need to prepare themselves and how they are going to be assessed. So here is the circular which has been circulated by Cbse on 5th of July. It states that this is the special scheme of assessment for board examination of class 10 and 12, and it is for the session 21-22. Now here, the scheme that has been introduced, it is such that we have two academic terms, that is 50% of the syllabus will be for the two terms. So here in the two terms, first 50% will be covered in the first term, and the second 50% will be covered in the second term. And one thing should be kept in mind, that the first term syllabus is not going to be repeated in the second term. The syllabus is will be rationalized similar to the last academic session, which has already been formulated in July. So we can get it downloaded from this website. Even efforts are also being made. That means teachers will be monitoring the internal assessment, practicals, projects, even to give them a valid, credible assessment. And third discussion here, it is telling that the details of the circular transaction, the school will be continuing in the distant mode or online mode as the teaching goes on, till our government gives permission for the students to come into the school and take their education. Now, the internal assessment will be done for class 9 and 10, as it was being done last year, through 3 periodic tests, student enrichment, portfolio, practical work, and other skill-based projects, and etc. So it will be there. Similarly, assessment of internal assessment of 11 and 12 will also be done throughout the year with projects, practicals, and other activities. So here the students are getting assessed in this manner. Similarly, schools will be creating a student profile for all assessment records, and every format will be retained in that digital format. That is what it is telling. And even the school will be uploading the internal assessment mark on the IT platforms. Now, coming to the internal assessment, it will be divided syllabus wise, and the board will also provide with sample assessment, question banks, teachers training, everything will be provided so that the teacher are at ease to face the students and to help them out in various situations. And even the students will be taught, and they will be provided with projects and other internal activities so that they can get scored and they can get their marks done. Now the fourth one, which is important, and we have to understand this one, that the first term will be organized between the month of November to December. And that means they are giving a window period. That means they are allowing the schools which are situated in different parts of the country to complete their examination from November to December in within 4 to 8 weeks. That means they are allowing 2 months time for the schools to take the examination, and the dates will be notified by the board. The second point, it is telling that the question paper for the first term will be multiple choice questions. This has to be noted, and it will be of 90 minutes, that is 1.5 hours. But it will only cover 50% of the entire syllabus. Like in previous years, the students have to cover the entire syllabus, and the end of the session, the students had to give the examination. But here in this scheme, the students have to give the 50% of the syllabus on the first term, and the question papers will be sent by the board. Mind you, this will not be prepared by the school. It is not a sort of internal exams. It will be set up by the board. Now, examination will also be conducted under the supervision of a center superintendent and an observer, which will be sent by the Cbse. So as it happens in the board exams, and the students will have to answer it in the OMR sheet. It will be assessed immediately. It will be uploaded in the Cbse portal on the same day. So that becomes the assessment of term 1. But it doesn't mean that it won't give or contribute to any of the marks in the board exam. Yes, it will contribute to the overall score of the student. Now in the second term, that means year-end exam, which is there, like we have the annual exam. In the second term, there will be year-end exam, that is also 50% of the rest, 50% of the entire syllabus, and it will be around in the March and April 2021. That will be also decided by the board, and the paper will be of 2 hours duration, and the questions will be of different format. Here you will also get short, long questions, situation-based questions, case studies, open-end question answers of all that sort, with the diagrams, scientific in science, as we get a diagram-based questions and all sort. So here it is a written work with explanations. And but here, this one is important to note. In case the situation is not conducive, that means if the situation worsens up due to pandemic, and taking an examination is not possible, then if the term 1 examination had already been held, then that marks will be taken into account. Okay, and that marks, the term marks will be raised a bit higher. So marks of term 2 would contribute to the final overall score. See here, if the pandemic situation improves, yes, if the pandemic situation improves, the board will conduct term 1 and term 2 examination. There will be theory marks as well as practical marks also. Okay. Now, in case the situation of pandemic forces complete closure of the schools. Now, in November, December, suppose we don't have complete closure of the school, but term 2 examination is held, then term 1 examination would be based on the online or offline mode of exam from the home. And the weightage of the exam for the if it is in online mode from the home, then the weightage will be lessened, but the term 2 weightage will be increased. In case this pandemic situation, complete closure of the school during March, that means term 1 examination had been held and term 2 couldn't be held, then term 1 examination marks would be increased. Okay, so in this situation, the weightage will be, the term 1 conducted by the board will be increased. The weightage of term 1 examination will be increased here. Now, in the third case, in case the situation of pandemic forces a complete closure of the schools and board conducted term 1 and term 2 examinations are taken by candidates from home. Suppose students aren't able to give term 1 and term 2 examination as decided by this circular, then what would happen? The result will be computed as it is being computed for this current session of, the last session of 2021 by internal assessment, practical, project work, theory marks of term 1 and term 2 examination, which is being taken by the candidates from the home. Those marks will be assessed and accordingly they will be awarded. So this is what it's there in the circular. And in the circular that we saw, this is the gist which we can follow. It says that a special assessment scheme that says that there will be 2 terms. One will be conducted in October and November. Second one will be conducted in February and March. And term 1 will be objective based. Term 2 will be subjective type questions. And exams of term 1 will be 90 minutes and term 2 it will be 120 minutes. Now, what important points we have to keep in mind is for the current session of 2021, the first term exam will be from November to December. The timings will be stated, and for the second term it will be March to April. Each term of the examination will have equal weightage in the final assessment, and the syllabus of one term will not be included for the other term. So thank you for joining me, and please subscribe my channel. Give a like if you like today's video,